Hey there, my fellow YouTubians. This is the second of two videos I'm making on my favorite movies of the decade, the list I'm about to announce and hold the whole guessing game on. I make this video to give you a few extra hints as to exactly how I'll be putting the list together. Now there's going to be 30 titles in total to choose from, 3 from each year this decade, from 2000 through 2009. And obviously you could just pick 10 of those and make those your guesses, but figure a few extra hints and a little bit more information as to exactly how I'll be putting it together might be helpful. Now, if you've watched the video on my favorite movies of 2009, you will know that those 3 were Where the Wild Things Are, Coraline, and Wendy and Lucy. Now, whenever I make one of these videos right here where I talk about my 3 favorite movies of a particular year, I always mention the 3 of them, but what I don't do is I tell you exactly where they go on the big countdown. I don't tell you which movie was number 1, which is number 2, and which is number 3. And the reason for that is because I don't want to give away which title will be most likely to appear on the countdown of the 10 best of the decade and which is the least likely. Obviously, whichever movie I rated number 1 of the year is more likely to be on that list than the number 2 or number 3. Not to say that number 2 or 3 won't be on there, but it's a lot more likely that whichever was rated number 1 will be on there. And so what I do is I read them in a kind of a scrambled order, or maybe I don't, depending. I'm not saying right now. But there are 6 possible combinations for each set of 3. They are 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 2, 1, 3, 3, 1, 2, 1, 3, 2, and 2, 3, 1. These are the 6 possible combinations for each of the sets of 3 from each year. And it might be helpful for you to know that if you correctly guess the proper numerical sequence for one of the 10 sets of 3 videos that I've talked about, then you've correctly guessed the sequence for all of them. The scrambled sequence, whatever it is that I read the titles in order of, is consistent from 2000 all the way through 2009. It's the same numerical sequence for each one. So if you decide that Where the Wild Things Are was my number 1 favorite movie of 2009, then you have also figured out that the first title that I read from the other 9 years is also my number 1 pick. I'm not saying that's what it is, but if it were, that would be true. So you would, know what all the number 1s are, number 2s, and so on. Of course, I can't confirm which is number 1 and number 2 ahead of time. Everyone's going to have to figure that out on their own and then make their guesses accordingly. Now, if you do correctly guess which of the titles from each year is number 1, that doesn't mean that you have a top 10 right away. That the top 10 will consist just of the number 1 pick from each year. There are, 30 movies to choose from, and any one of them could be on there, depending on how much I like them. I'll tell you a little bit more on that. This is my top 10 list from the 90s, and as you can see right here, I've listed the years next to each title. Unforgiven is from 1992, as is Glengarry Glen Ross and Reservoir Dogs. I've also got a second film from 95 and 1990 on there, which means that there were a few years from that decade that got squeezed out entirely. They don't have any representation on the list at all. 93, 96, 98, and 99 are not on there. And that is because some years produce a better quality of movies than other years. Basically, some years might not actually show up on the best of the decade list, and some years might have 2 or more representatives on the 10 best list. Can't say right now. But I will say, however, that whatever the list turns out to be, in the end it will be numerically correct. I won't have a number 3 from a particular list on here and then ignore the number 2 or 1, or rank a number 2 or 3 above a number 1, or what have you. All number 1s will have first shot at being on the list, and the 2s and 3s are to follow after that, as many as can be squeezed onto a top 10 list. Hope that's all clear, and hope that you find that helpful. Like I said, you can just go ahead and pick 10 titles randomly and make them your guesses, but if you wanted to go back and take a look at the videos that I've made on each year, you might detect by how I speak about a film, whether or not I describe it as one of my favorites, or whether or not I speak with more enthusiasm about a particular title than others, you might be able to figure out which ones are more likely to go on there, and this might help. Remember, if you decide that a particular movie from a particular year was my favorite, then you know what the other ones will be as well from each year. So anyway, I hope that helps, and please stay tuned and please participate in the contest. DVDs are potential prizes. So thanks very much for watching. Take it easy.